Hello, everyone, and welcome to my session from zero to hero with Microsoft Sentinel. My name is Uros Babic. Currently, I'm working as a cybersecurity manager in Serbia Oil Company, but I also working as a Microsoft certified trainer in SEMAS education. Many thanks for the organizer who accept my session. Actually, this is the first session for Azure Back to School, but I also have the second session. That is how to forensic investigate incident in Microsoft Azure. And I'm very proud to be part of amazing speaker from the annual community event Azure Back to School this year. The subject of my presentation is actually Microsoft Sentinel. Microsoft Sentinel is a scalable, cloud-native security information and image management system for security orchestration, automatization, and response. And Sentinel delivers intelligence, security analytics, and threat intelligence across all enterprises, providing the single solution for attack detection, threat visibility, proactive hunting, and threat response. And you can view with the Sentinel all across the enterprise and actually increasingly sophisticated attack, increasing volume of alerts and long resolution in the time frames. And as you can see on this slide, I can, for example, collect data across all users, device, application, different data sources, and infrastructure, both on-premise and multiple clouds. And I can detect previously undetected threats and minimize the false positive with the source solution, extended detection, the response, and many playbooks using Microsoft Sentinel analytics and unparalleled threat intelligence. And I can investigate threats with artificial intelligence, enhance suspicious activity in the scale, tapping in the definitely cybersecurity work, and response to incident because incident now is very sophisticated in day-to-day operation. We had a lot of zero-day operation and from attacker, and rapidly with actually build of orchestration and automatization with the common task. And we can actually collect data across all users' device, different data sources in a summary, detect uncovering threats, minimize false positive unmentioned, investigate and response to different security incident. And actually, this is how we understand. I have a lot of on-premise. I have syslog as a standard protocol for different sources, and I have over my UDP, TCP, and TLS default port, for example, 540, and I integrated via syslog agent, syslog daemon and log analytica agent with Azure Sentinel workspace. When we're talking about the data connector, Microsoft Sentinel comes with a definitely large number of connectors from Microsoft solution that is available out of box and provide real-time integration, including Microsoft 365 Defender or Microsoft 365 different sources, including Microsoft Azure Entra ID, Microsoft Defender for Identity, Microsoft Defender for Cloud Application, and more and more. And you can see it can be 124 and more connector. And in addition, we have a built-in connector to do broader security ecosystem, for example, non-Microsoft solution. And you can also use the common event format I mentioned in the previous slide, like 6log or some REST API to connect your, for example, data sources with Microsoft Sentinel as well. And we also dealing with the different workbooks. After we connected our data sources to Microsoft Sentinel, I can monitor data using integration, Sentinel integration with the Azure Monitor workloads, which provides, for example, some custom workbooks. And while workbooks are displayed differently in Microsoft Sentinel, it may be useful for you to see how to create some interactive reports with the Azure Monitor workbooks. Microsoft Sentinel allows you to create some custom workbooks across data, and also comes with some built-in workbook, different templates, and to allow you to quickly gain insight across actually data. And workbooks are intended for example, security operations center engineers, and analyzed to all tiers to visual data. Workbooks are best used for example, the high level for Microsoft Sentinel data, and require no coding knowledge. For example, you cannot integrate workbooks with some external data. But it is, I show you during my demo, because my plan during this presentation to show you demo about the all activity regarding Sentinel. You can also use analytic to help to reduce noise and to minimize number of different alerts you have to review and investigate. Microsoft Sentinel using analytic to correlate alerts into incidents, and incident is actually group of related alerts that together create some action, possibly trait that you can investigate and resolve, and use to build correlation rule that is very important to starting point to build your own. Sentinel also provide machine learning option rulings to map your some network behavior and then look for anomalies across resources. This actually analytic connects some dots by combining some low alerts about different entity to potential some security incident. And definitely you can use also some rule templates after I have connected my data sources to Microsoft Sentinel. You will want to be notified when something suspicious occurs. And that is the reason why, for example, Microsoft Sentinel provide out-of-box with some different template to help you to create some detection rules. And rules templates were designed by Microsoft teams or security experts or analytics with a common attack vector and suspicious activity escalation chains. Rule created from templated, and after that will automatically search across the environment for any activity that looks suspicious. Many of the templates can be customized, of course, for search for activity, and definitely it helps how we understand how the tactic tracks with Sentinel use some out-of-box threat detection, how to automate threat response, and everything. The next is playbooks. Playbooks, this is an example with the Microsoft Sentinel playbooks and how we can block IP, for example, for Palo Alto PAN operation system. But I can automate my common task and with security orchestration with playbooks, then integrated with the different Azure services and existing tools. For example, if use some service, no ticketing system, you can use some tools provide to use Azure Logic application to automate workloads and open ticketing service now. And playbooks are intended for security operations center, for SOC engineering, analytic for different tier to automate it and simplify tasks, including some enrichments, for example, including investigation and remediation. Of course, data ingestions is very important. Playbooks work best with some repeatable tasks and require no coding knowledge. Playbooks are not suitable for ad hoc, but for documenting and sharing evidence is very important, and include actually more than 200 connectors for service such, for example, Azure function, but you can use for example, the connector allows to apply any custom logging code, ServiceNow, Jira, HTTP request for the Microsoft Teams, for Microsoft Defender, Advanced Threat Protection, for example, Defender for cloud application, and etc. And it is very interesting focus. And yes, this is a good example how we investigate with the playbooks some suspicious URL with the Sentinel and possible compromise URL for Palo Alto Networks.com detected by some provider. And we have medium incident malicious URL and all incident description and summary of action taken on URL by Security Operations Center. What is information about incident configuration? What is a change? How if we have option to change incident severity and everything regarding the playbooks. One good example is in Microsoft Sentinel playbooks automatization and orchestration flow is definitely work with the playbooks and actually this is one of the example how we deal with the Sentinel playbooks with correlation and automatic and orchestration flows. And of course, hunting is very important because Sentinel use powerful hunting search and query tools based of MITRE framework, which enable you to proactively hunt security threats across the organization data sources before alert is triggered. And after, for example, I discovered which hunt and query provides with high value insight into some attack, I can also create custom detection rules base of query and surface alerts to security incident responder. And I can use different type of query. I can use built-in query. In hunting dashboard, you can see on this slide, provide some ready-made query example with file login attempts of Xperia account. I can define query based on QL language, and actually adding I can adding new query and define to tuning query to provide with the entity point to look new detection and figure out when to start some hunting for the beginners of new attack, and use query before, during, and after actually compromise to take some action. For example, fail login attempt before for incident occur. I'm waiting on detection. It's not enough. I take some proactive action by running any threat hunting query related to data, and I actually investing into the workspace and list one of the week. And I have result from proactive hunting provide some early insight into events. They may confirm that it's a compromise in the process, in the action, and still exist. During the compromise, I can use, for example, live stream to run some specific query presenting result. I can use live stream when I need, for example, to actively monitoring user event, and after compromise on or some incident or has occurred, I can sure to improve coverage and insight to prevent similar incident in the future. Modify existing query or create some new query to assist with the early detection based of insight. And of course, I have gained from compromise, for example, from your compromise or incident. If you have some discovered or created some hunting query that provides some hail value into some possible attack, I can create some custom detection rules based on the query and surface insight to alerts and security incident responder. I can view actually query result and select new alert rule. I can create Microsoft Sentinel alert with this option. I can use analytic rule wizard to create new rule based of my query and actually that is an option how I create custom analytic rule to detect threats. I will show you during my demo. And of course, hunting regarding the logs, because hunting dashboard enable to run all a query or selected some subnet in the single selection. And this actually slide describe all the query written of security analytics, and extra query you can actually create or modify, and each query provides some description if what it hunts for and what kind of data it runs on, and this query are grouped into the MITRE attack tactic, and actually icons categorize to the type of threat, which initial access, persistence, exfiltration of data. MITRE attack techniques are shown in the techniques option columns and describe some specific, for example, behavior identified by hunting query. I can use hunting dashboard to detect where to start hunting, looking with a spike or change in the result over the 24 hours period of time. MITRE attack tactical techniques result of data in percentage. And of course, I can view and investigate with the investigation graph later, and that is also powerful, very powerful option. And of course, what is my idea to show you? That is actually I talking about in my presentation about the Microsoft Sentinel and data connection and workbooks, analytic playbooks, threat hunting, and actually some part of incident management. But my idea to show you in agenda in my demo lab how to create Microsoft Sentinel workspace. That is the first steps. How to add Microsoft Sentinel to workspace. And Sentinel Training Lab is in public preview. That is a very, very powerful option how we conducting on Training Lab and create in Azure portal. And actually, the next step, how to enable incident creation rule, how create some Sentinel custom analytic rule I mentioned during the presentation slides, but I will show you now in the demo. Sentinel threat analytic incident management, threat analytic in the Sentinel, and MITRE attack technique, and actually review resulting of the security incident. And of course, this is actually my that is Azure portal. I previously have some setting my environment. I can start with Microsoft Sentinel, but I must have Microsoft Azure subscription. If you don't have a subscription, you can sign up the free account here. And for example, I can use in Azure portal, I top search bar and type here Sentinel. And you can see I have option now to create in the top left. That is the first step, how I add the Microsoft Sentinel to workspace. I zoom my definitely dashboard to better see what I'm doing. And I can create new workspace based of my subscription. You can see resource group, region, workspace name, and everything. And you can see here, I click on Azure Pass subscription. I create, for example, new resource group in that propose. For example, Sentinel resource group based on my subscription, and I define some name. For example, Sentinel workspace. I choose the region, that is East US, for example, and just click here to review and create. Okay, I previously used this name, and I can choose different name, never mind. And I running the final validation and validation passed, and the first steps create actually deployment to resource group, Sentinel resource group in progress in order to create log analytic workspace. Actually, log analytic workspace is basic management unit for Azure Monitor Logs. With Azure Monitor Logs, you can easily store, retain Actually query data collected from the monitor resources in Azure and other environment for value of insight in log analytic workspace, that is actually logical storage unit where your log data is collected and stored. And actually this is option and this is the steps. You can see Microsoft Sentinel offers the 31-day the free trial. And actually the next steps, I can add Microsoft Sentinel to workspace. Here I click add and deployment will begin. When it's complete in, I think, a minute or two, after that you can see Microsoft Sentinel workspace is ready to use. And you can see Microsoft Sentinel trial option is activated. You can see the all information about your trial is active from the period of time. You have 31 days remaining your free trial, and you can use 10 gigabytes per day. That is the free for both Microsoft Sentinel actually and log analytic and include quantity to be built. You can see the pricing data and everything in that dashboard. The second steps is how we deploy the Microsoft Sentinel Training Lab solution. I can type here Sentinel Training, and I can, in the Microsoft place, go in the Microsoft Sentinel Training Lab solution here and click, and I can option to create this lab solution. It is currently in public preview. You can see this feature is amazing and provide without the service level agreement now is not recommended for production, but you can very good for exercise when we deal with the parsers, workbooks, analytic rule, hunting query, playbooks, how to investigate incident, and you can use here all information regarding that. And I can just click here in order to create, and I linked to my previously defined resource groups based on my subscription, and I click on my Sentinel workspace. They'll also previously created and deployed. And that is currently, you can see on this dashboard. In public preview, this feature is definitely very useful. In workbooks, I define actually for data monitoring, analysis, and creation some visual report with Azure portal. I can define the display name analytics, for example, signing for IP, signing or disable account. I can investigate with analytics malicious inbox rule, network beacon, and based of indicator of compromise. And with the playbooks, I can define some geo from IP and tag incident. This playbox will take for the some IP address and entities from the incident and query on the geo IP API to geolocate some IP address, and click actually for review create, and based on my customization, I can create for my once validation is okay, of course, I can create. And you can note some deployment process takes about 15 minutes, and you can see that is the part because we want to make sure all Ingress data is ready for our lab solution. When we finished, and once the deployment is finished, you can go back in the Microsoft Sentinel and select your workspace. Definitely, that is the next steps. But I previously defined, because that is take some time, in my resource group, you can see I have actually two with a different subscription. I defined my Sentinel resource group, and I can, in the next steps, configure some playbooks, which will be used, for example, later. We are going to allow some playbooks to access Sentinel, and I navigate on my resource group. You can see on this slide, and after that in resource group I should see API connection here. I can click from my API connection. It's called Azure Sentinel set geo from IP and tag incident. And after that, I can click for the edit API connection. That is the next steps, how we understand. Click in authorize, and new window here, based on my display name, I can connect with my actually account, Microsoft account. That is the next steps, and I'm now with my account editing and authorized, successfully edit some API connection. That is very important steps when we talking about how we understand in order to configure some Microsoft Sentinel playbooks. In the next step, I can go, for example, to enable some data connector, and actually my user account must be have some list reader permission to any subscription. You can, for example, use in order to enforce log from Azure Management Plan activity and everything in that way. I can open Sentinel instance and type Sentinel, for example, here, or I can go just type Sentinel, for example, and I can open my Sentinel, and after that I can go in Contents Hub here. That is the next steps. And you can see now, search some, for example, Azure Activity Context Solution from, because my idea now to enable the Azure Activity Connector, I open Content Hub and I can click Install Update here when I found my Azure activity, for example, or just install. Click here, and I can install the first connector. When deployment is complete, I can select data connector and configure section to workspace. It takes some time, but Azure Activity Solution enable to ingest some Azure activity for administration, for security, for service code, for alerts, and the different option. And I install now my connector, and I can click, for example, in data connector now. I can click my Azure activity. That is the first connector, and for example, open connector page. On Azure activity connector page, I scroll down through some configuration instruction and everything, and the next step is to launch some Azure policy assignment wizard. That is the next steps, because I must here define the scope. I can select my subscription. I can choose my I can choose my Sentinel resource group here, and I can define the optional resources to exclude from policy assignment, and I define my policy I can go, for example, in parameter tab to define primary log analytic workspace because I definitely previously defined, and remediation, I can create remediation tasks to enable non-compliance resource and everything. Definitely I can use different option in that proposal. And I can go in my review create and create policy assignment. Remediation tracks is also succeed, role assignment creation is also succeed, and actually I can go back now in Content Hub here to view my Azure activity feature, for example, and I can manage. From the manage view context on different solution now with analytic, with rule, data connector, and everything. Also, in other example, for example, I can enable different connector in Contents Hub. I can open again my Sentinel workspace and click Content Hub, and I can search in Defender option and found the Microsoft Defender for Cloud. And after that, I can click for install this data connector. That is very important solution for Sentinel to all of you to enhance security alerts reporting in Microsoft Defender for Cloud or accessing the hybrid cloud workload, my security posture. And actually, after deployment is finished, I can also, like the previous task, I can go in the manage button in the bottom right here and see all information about this type of connector, my analytic rule and action in open connector page. I have actually can install different type of connector, like actually for example, Microsoft Defender Threat and Intelligence option, or enable threat intelligence data connector, different connector, and that is very important part. And I can also show how to enable, for example, analytic rules. That is a very important part, and I mentioned during my presentation. And in my Sentinel instance here, I can go actually in analytic option here. That is a tab. You can tab after data connector in configuration option. And actually, I can click some rule templates here. Are installed here for the Context Hub solution. I can create active rule based on this template, and I can add some filter, for example, for the source name, and I can find my Azure activity previously installed this type of connector and apply. And definitely click some template for suspicious resource deployment. Here you can also have in active rule, but that is interesting. I can use different template in my rule template and activity. Azure define the hybrid and everything related, and I can view some sovereignty specific option with my this and actually, for example, sovereignty is low. Content Hub what is the scheduling and everything. Actually, I can in option to create, I can create some scheduling query rule in my analytics with different options. I can define the rule name, for example, some suspicious resources deployment. And with some description, sovereignty I can define here with the scheduling rule, for example, that is a law. In tactic and techniques, I can define option for my analytic rule that we run for all data for detect incident, for example, for execution, for privilege escalation, for persistence and everything. And after that, I can set my rule logic. I can use some query across. I can generate my analytic rule with my scheduling rule, and actually test with some current data. I can run here entity mapping. I can see query scheduling for my run query every, for example, 5 hours, so looking data from the last and everything. And with the incident option, I can go to see alerts to be grouped together into incidents. In automatic response option, I can use some rule to review and create, and just click to review, create. Okay, I previously defined some rule logic for this operation. I can use previously defined some rule template, but my aim is only show how working with actually this option, because in general I previously defined some here suspicious rule resource rule template base of my name, and I can investigate some anomaly activity and everything related to my incident. How we enable incident creation Microsoft rule, for example, I can go, for example, in option, I can enter Defender for Cloud here, and for some actually medium and high alerts. And with the description, I can go, for example, that is also how we deal with the medium and high alerts. The status is enable, and in the filter by sovereignty, I can choose my option for the Microsoft Defender for Cloud in security service, and I can use different type of sovereignty in the custom options, like, for example, medium or high. And in automatic response, for example, that is a page you can actually attach automatization rule and everything, and you can assist with your security operation center team with some task, incident enrichment, security remediation, and I can go and review, create, and save my alert rule. I can define different type of rule. I can define, for example, some custom rule for my analytics. For example, that is also very good option. I can go in my Sentinel logs here, and I can define some query. For that propose, for example, office activity. And I can found in my for example, new inbox rule some interesting information regarding my operation and everything. But I can go now in analytic and create some new custom rule, scheduling query rule, and I can define some rule like malicious inbox, for example, and some description using mailbox and everything. And under tactic, I can choose here some activity like persistence or defense, different defense evasion, but I can use different option for my tactics, and I can choose medium option for my severity, and set to my rule logic. And I can previously define, because we don't have many times for this presentation, I prepare my rule for inbox rule with the query language, and I can test my rule with current data. I can expand and entity mapping. I can define my entity with my account, with my, for example, full name, and here for my user ID option with my, for example, host and full name here, and the original server IP here, address and client IP address, and I can add customized rule definitely with different option, and that is very good incident settings. I can define a group together in the incidents, alerts, and everything in automatic response. I can view all information about rule and just click review and create and save my custom rule. That is very powerful and very good option. And the finally, I can use different options for review security incidents about some malicious activity, for example, and that is very good to view in incident action. But I can find incident. I can, for example, here select the threat management incident and review incident page, and you can see malicious rule, and I can view the full details about this, for example, incident. This is entity Samadel at contoso.on Microsoft.com account. It is interesting, and I can, for example, now go in link to my events and view all information about this incident. For example, here in result, when I go, that is some account with inbound rule and user ID. Here I reveal all this incident task and incident option, and I can investigate. I mentioned in presentation I can investigate this with the graph investigation graph. It is very powerful option when we actually view all information about malicious inbound rule and everything regarding the incident. I can go back here, for example, for sign in from IP address, and I can go for example, IP address investigation and sign in. I have some IP address here, 175.45 or 176.99. I can link for this IP address and investigate all about this incident here. When I go in option that is actually disable account set from this account, it's very interesting. I can view all information about this IP address and everything. You have actually a lot of option how to identify incident with amazing tool, and I can conduct different action. I can run, for example, here playbooks for this incident, and I can found geotag of this incident activity and everything relating this IP address. I can run trigger option and everything, and actually that is I previously mentioned very powerful option when we deal with incident management. I can actually investigate a lot of type of incident. I can link here with link option and found all information. I can use other playbooks for that purpose and everything relating investigation incident and everything. I can use also, for example, workbooks here for incident investigation. That is also very powerful option because I mentioned here in my presentation, and I can use investigation inside for this option to view all information about and of course different template, but I can use this template for customization and everything in order to find all information about I can add new workbooks, for example, and everything regarding different type of incident. And when I go, for example, for incident option again, I can find some Solargate network activity here, and I can assign. I am actually owner. My account is the owner to investigate this incident, and I can apply. When I assign this incident, I can go for the incident option and show the full option regarding this incident and regarding incident investigation. And I found here a lot of useful information about entities, IP address, and everything, command and control action, and what is actually remediation steps. Here I can run playbooks for this, and actually have all the information about this. And I can run playbook for example, IP address. I can for the domain name system and everything, and I can find a lot of useful information regarding this type of incident. Of course, I can hunting here with this option and query tabs, different query tabs, uh, and actually I can found some attack using this option, and after that I can define different query uh, in query option. Here I can, for example, uh, find the previous incident. So create inventory check here, and I can find actual result of this incident. I can run this query. Query is now is in execution, and in result, for example, I can define all of this option regarding the incident. I can add multiple playbook, for example, that is very useful. Uh, Threat intelligence with the indicator of compromise. It's very good option uh, of many new indicator. I can define the types with, for example, IP address. I can find my previously IP address here with, for example, I give some IP address what I previously found to investigate, and the description is, for example, some malicious activity. I can associate it with some campaign in description, but name is, for example, some IP. I can define some confidence here and valid from the some period of time, for example, until uh, valid from, I don't know, maybe December, by December, and until the period of time. I can define here some period of time. For example, here 10 January this year. With my account, of course, I created my account, and I can apply, and I can hand over the incident in comments and found different option for about the model of hunting and everything for it. But when I go in the hunting, I can go with a different option with for example query I mentioned before, and I can define different attribute when I found a filter about techniques. Uh, I can select all techniques here, and I investigate some incident in the last 24 hours, and I run all query, uh, and I can after that define watch list and everything related this incident and everything. Add some bookmark, promoting bookmark for investigation. I can deal with watch list in here in actually uh, after analytic tab in configuration option. that is very, very, very good. And for example, receive some message from Security Operations Center manager inform me about some penetration test exercises being performed over the weeks, and I can use my watch list wizards to enter some source. I can create here source with the name, pen test, IP address, for example, and IP address during penetration test. I can define some alias alias name here, pen test IP address, for example, and after that I can go in my sources and actually define some file I previously defined in file and download with my IP address. That is actually Excel file. I browse in my local machine and click here actually and upload this file, and I can define an IP address here and review and create option and click and create and finish my wizard regarding watch list. And I can define now in analytics some different template and rule wizards and everything regarding and use, of course, threat intelligence option for different data connector and everything regarding incident management handling. Okay, I think that is actually time for my presentation, and I can combine my actually theoretic approach of my presentation and demo lab and training lab and show you a lot of options regarding how we work with the Microsoft Sentinel regarding incident investigation. Thank you for your time, and see you on my next session for Azure Back to School. That is how we forensic investigate incident in Microsoft Azure. Thank you. Bye.